Samantha B. This week, French President Emmanuel Macron paid a state visit to the White House where he and Donald Trump competed over who could invade the other's personal space the most aggressively. I call it power flirting.
Grapple! Power kiss!
Like I'll get that little piece of dandruff off.
Nag him! D9! Finish him!
Ooh, so much vanity and male aggression. It's the first diplomatic visit sponsored by Axe Body Spray. And if you're thinking, hey, shouldn't we have some sort of diplomat-in-chief to keep things from getting this odd? By next week, we will! President Trump's nominee for Secretary of State, Mike Pompeo, current CIA director and black sheep of the Pompeo family, will almost certainly be confirmed as Secretary of State.
To replace Tillerson, the president tapped CIA Director Mike Pompeo, an Iran hawk and Benghazi conspiracy theorist.
The third-term congressman has been accused of being anti-Muslim. During his run for Congress in 2010, he personally apologized after his campaign tweeted a link to a blog that referred to his Indian-American rival as a turban topper and President Obama as an evil Muslim communist usurper.
Okay, so a pretty typical Trump pick. I guess Logan Paul and the Cash Me Outside girl were busy. Most Democrats are not expected to vote to confirm Pompeo, which gave the president a chance to learn a new word, obstructionist. Apparently, it was the word of the day on Republican Street.
The Democrats have become obstructionists. That's all they're good at. They're not good at anything else. They have bad ideas. They have bad politics. The one thing they do is obstruct.
Democrats continue their pointless obstruction.
Democrats who are once again obstructing the president.
Be sure to vote in our poll tonight. Do you believe the Dems' petty, pointless obstruction of Mike Pompeo's confirmation just further damages what's left of the Democratic brand? Please cast your vote on Twitter.
And when you're done voting in Lou Dobbs's Twitter poll, please vote in mine. What? Lou Dobbs is still alive? I just assumed that Fox News got rid of him when they brought in the clear desks. Each one of Lou Dobbs's legs is insured for $1 million. In any case, if the Dems are being obstructionist, let's take a look at the guy they're trying to obstruct. For starters, Mike Pompeo is not a fan of the Muslims. In fact, he even won a prestigious Not a Fan of the Muslims award.
There's a group called Act for America. It is the largest anti-Muslim hate group in the country. They gave him, in 2016, the Eagle Award. Pompeo is the recipient of the highest honor of the largest anti-Muslim hate group in the country.
Well, pretty sure the actual highest honor anti-Muslim hate groups can bestow on you is getting you elected president, but this one's pretty good. You know, it's his work in Congress that really helped him earn that 2016 Hate-E Award.
It's been just under 2 months since the attacks in Boston. And in those intervening weeks, the silence of Muslim leaders has been deafening. Silence has made these Islamic leaders across America potentially complicit in these acts. If a religion claims to be one of peace, Mr. Speaker, its leaders must reject violence that is perpetrated in its name.
Of course they spoke out. They have to because of human email forwards like this jagoff. Also, it's not Muslim leaders' job to condemn violence perpetrated by strangers any more than it's Mike Pompeo's job to condemn every Kevin James movie. Pompeo is also a friend of Frank Gaffney, a professional Islamophobe, and judging by his facial hair, an escaped Westworld robot. Pompeo appeared frequently on his radio show, co-signing Gaffney's theory that Barack Obama has an affinity for slaying Christians.
You know, Congressman Mike Pompeo, I wonder whether, in fact, what the president is conveying to them is not simply that he doesn't understand, but that there's really kind of an affinity for, if not the violent beheading and crucifixions and, you know, slaying of Christians and all that, but at least for the cause in which these guys are engaged in such activities.
Frank, every place you stare at the president's policies and statements, you see what you just described. Every policy of this administration has treated America as if we are the problem and not the solution.
The guy who thinks that Barack Obama was Team ISIS is going to be our next Secretary of State. I don't know, maybe he's onto something. I mean, here's Obama committing a moisture attack on our nation's panties. Mission accomplished. Sorry, Michelle. It would be unfair to simply call Mike Pompeo a raging Islamophobe because he's also a raging homophobe. It's what Republicans call intersectionality. He hit both of those notes at a 2015 rally in Kansas where he warmly invoked the prayer of a local pastor.
Pastor Joe went on to make clear that America had worshipped other gods and called it multiculturalism, and we'd endorsed perversion and called it an alternative lifestyle.
Even YouTube refused to buffer that shit properly. You know, I guess the only man who can save us from multicultural perversions is the guy who probably pays foreigners to urinate in front of him. Senator Cory Booker invited Pompeo to elaborate on those beliefs at his confirmation hearing this week.
I do want to give you a chance to speak about your comments on gay and lesbians. Is being gay a perversion?
When I was a politician, I had a very clear view on whether it was appropriate for two same-sex persons to marry. I stand by that.
So you do not believe it's appropriate for two gay people to marry?
Senator, I continue to hold that view.
The official position of the Trump administration now is that marriage is between a man and a woman who won't hold his hand. Pompeo is against gay people's rights to marry and to serve openly in the military. He even voted against the Violence Against Women Act because it would incidentally protect gay people. Of course, to Republicans, straight women are just the gays of heterosexuality. The problem isn't simply that Mike Pompeo is anti-gay. The problem is that the Secretary of State represents American values to the rest of the world. And a homophobic Secretary of State will do nothing to assert values of tolerance in anti-gay countries like Saudi Arabia, Pakistan, and the United States. At a time when our tantrum-throwing garbage pail kid of a president has fired most of the grown-ups who were reining in his worst instincts, it's more important than ever to have a Secretary of State who's willing to stand up to him when necessary. Unfortunately, Pompeo is even more of a balls-out warmonger nut job than the president. He's called for regime change in Iran and regime change in North Korea. He's about to be our nation's top diplomat, and he's already given up on diplomacy. It's like if the animal control guy himself had rabies. To recap, Ellen Pompeo is a national treasure, and Mike Pompeo is a racist, warmongering homophobe. And it looks like the only thing preventing him from being our new Secretary of State is the common decency of the Senate. So basically, nothing is standing in his way. We'll be right back.